So we're here at the Penn Museum in Philadelphia, and what we're looking at right here is a person by the name of Queen Pu'abi. Queen Pu'abi is about 25th century BCE. She is a queen in Mesopotamia, i.e. Sumer. Her name, right here in cuneiform, is Eresh Pu'abi. If you come closer, you'll actually see her name inscribed in the cuneiform. The glyph over here is Eresh, that's the glyph for queen. Then we have Pu'abi. Pu'abi means the word of my father. And the title queen here is Eresh. Eresh literally means in the Sumerian and Akkadian language, an espoused person or someone who is betrothed. In fact, when you get into the Hebrew scriptures, the Torah, the Tanakh, you find that the word for betrothal is eres with an S, not an SH. Eres, spelled Aleph, Resh, Sin. But in Sumer, it would be A-R-S-H, or Aleph, Resh, Shin. So the word for queen in the ancient Sumerian and Akkadian tongue is Eresh, which is coming from the Akkadian and Sumerian root Eresh, which means a betrothed woman. Because the idea in ancient Sumer is that the woman that you are betrothing becomes your queen. So this is a very, very powerful statement to make, because number one, we see this in Sumer. Because this is the 25th century BCE, we can say beyond a shadow of a doubt, this is, as far as we know, the world's first queen. This is almost a full 1,000 years before we even hear about Hatshepsut and Kemet. We see a woman by the name of Pu'abi living in Sumer, and she is during the period of 2500 BCE. In fact, what is most significant about some of the things that you actually see in this particular scenery is that you can actually see the gold decorated in her headdress. You can actually see, if you come closer, some of the blue ancient dye, which is called lapis lazuli. You can only find this in Afghanistan. So that's what makes this very, very significant, because this particular shade of blue wasn't mined anywhere throughout the ancient world aside from Afghanistan. Now, we do hear of some of the turquoise mines in Canada, but none of them produce what we're calling the lapis lazuli. That explicitly came from Mesopotamia, but in particular came from Afghanistan. And what makes her so powerful is that we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the people of Sumer call themselves the Blackheads. And they were a black African people, or they were a dark race of people. So this is the world's first black queen. And this is very, very powerful, because this world's first queen is actually calling herself, her name is the word of my father, Pu'abi, which means that her father was definitely someone significant in the Sumerian court, that he named her the word or oath of my father. It was something that was very powerful between the connection between her and her father that gave rise to her name, Pu'abi. And because, again, we know that the Sumerian and Akkadian dialects and language is very similar to Hebrew, the name Pu'abi in Hebrew would mean the same thing too, because the first part, pe, is the mouth, or to speak, or that which words come forth from. And Abi literally means my father. So even in Hebrew, Pu'abi literally means word of my father. Highly significant. This is the world's very first queen. Her name is Pu'abi. She is here 25th century BCE, almost a full 1,000 years before Kemet even has Hatshepsut. What we're looking at here is called the Disc of Enheduanna. Enheduanna is considered historically or academically the world's first author, and she's a female at that. The world's first author, meaning that she's the first person to actually inscribe her name on her writing. Enheduanna is the daughter of Sargon the Great of Akkad, Sargon I. This is the Akkadian ruler, that was emperor, who actually united all of the Sumerian lands and also adjoined the land of Akkad, which came to be known as Akkadia, and the people are known as Akkadian. And his daughter, Enheduanna, is the world's first author as well as the world's first high priestess. And she is the first person throughout the world who's actually penning her name on her work. This is extremely significant because a lot of people speak on Mesopotamian culture or Abrahamic religions, quote unquote, and say that it's all patriarchal. But the reality is, we just looked at a queen in the 25th century BCE by the name of Pu'abi. She pre-exists Hatshepsut by almost 1,000 years. So we have a queen in Sumer or Mesopotamia almost a full 1,000 years before Kemet has any queen. Also, Kemet cannot speak of a high priestess before Enheduanna, who was during the 24th century BCE, which would be the same time that Kemet is actually speaking of someone by the name of Ptah-hotep, or the Maxims of Ptah-hotep, which is considered one of Kemet's oldest books. One of Kemet's oldest books is considered or called the Maxims of Ptah-hotep. And he's actually a contemporary of Enheduanna, 24th century BCE. And she's considered the world's first author because she's the first person to actually pen her name on her writings. And again, what's so significant about it, she's a female. Some of the earliest representations of some of these ideas in Kemet are coming through men. Some of the earliest representations of these ideas in Sumer are coming from women, i.e. we can see queens in Sumer before we see them in ancient Kemet. We can also see a high priestess as well as a poet/author in ancient Sumeria long before we see them in ancient Kemet. So when people begin to describe the Abrahamic traditions and the Abrahamic faith as being patriarchal without giving respect to the matrilineal lineage, that is totally incorrect because some of the oldest priestesses were women and they were in Sumer. Some of the oldest queens were women and they were also in Sumer. So this is what I like to call correcting history and bringing forth truth.